Well, been so long. welcome back, y'all. Let's get into these Married to Medicine. I know I still owe y'all. I know I still owe y'all a bunch of stuff, child. Let's just do Married to Medicine. We'll get into Bell Collective and Love and Marriage Huntsville tomorrow. I have an appointment tomorrow, and I'm going to the gym tomorrow. But other than that, I'll be here. I'll be home. All right. Working on this exact summary. My brain is weary. Oh, well, we'll help. We'll do the best we can. I'm working tonight, Miss French Kids, child. It's my third time live today, honey. Me and El Teddy did Chasing Atlanta earlier today, so that's why I can't promise y'all nothing else tonight. I'm gonna get off of here and relax the rest of the evening. I actually have some travel stuff I gotta handle tonight when I get off of here, but we're gonna get into it. So last night was part 2 of the Married to Medicine reunion, and listen, bravo for once you guys got it right. You did not force a 3-part reunion. You did not force us to sit through a bunch of stuff. Now, I do think that there were some things we could have got a little bit more, and I'll talk about that. I think we could have spent a little bit more time on some things, but there were other things that I'm glad you just didn't drag it out. So let me get into my notes, honey. Let me get into my notes. So we start off where we left. Now, I did write this in my notes. We'll come back to this, but I wrote it in my notes. Steve is going to get Mimi fired. But we'll come back to that at the end of this. We'll come back to that. But I don't want to forget to say it. So we pick up where we left off with Jackie and Simone. I stand corrected, y'all. The way things ended last week, I was like, oh, Simone is not here for this. Simone is done with Jackie. Simone. But Simone and Jackie were able to talk it out. Jackie finally just said what Simone needed her to say, which was, no, Heavenly did not push you the way she said, and Heavenly was wrong, right? Now, she still ain't say Heavenly lied, but she did say, you didn't get redirected? Oh, no! Why didn't they redirect Quake? Oh. But everybody agreed, including Quad, including Mimi, everybody agreed that Dr. Heavenly did not push Simone after seeing the footage. And here's where my problem is. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Y'all know I used to be like, oh, I like Dr. Heavenly. Y'all know I don't really rock with Dr. Heavenly like I used to. But on this reunion, she irritated me more than she normally does. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't know why she was so vested in this lie. I don't know why she couldn't have just said, you know what? In the moment, I'm sorry that y'all didn't get redirected. You know, that's on YouTube, child. I don't know why. That's on YouTube, honey. I don't know why she couldn't have just said, look, we were all heated that night. It was a lot of fussing and fighting and arguing. In the moment, that's how I remembered it. But when I saw the tape playback, I realized it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Because we do that all the time. And when I say we, when something is happening and we're in the heat of the moment, we do remember stuff a little more aggressively, a little harshly. Like when you're retelling the story, you add a little oomph to it. You add a little stank on it. But then when the footage rolled back and you saw that it was not as bad, that's all you had to fucking say. But instead, you sat on that stage with your face scrunched up, acting like you still didn't understand. And then when you realized that the whole couch was against you, saying, no, it really wasn't that bad, then you moved the goalpost and said, well, Simone, she got stuff she needs to be held accountable for too. She needs to be held accountable for her behavior too. See, now we're moving the goalpost, because what Simone might need to be held accountable for her behavior has nothing to do with what you said. And like Simone said, the accusations that you were making, and even Contessa said it. Contessa was like, but Dr. Heavenly, the trigger words that you were using, you know what you were doing by saying certain things. You knew what you were doing by talking about that she was aggressive and she assaulted you and all that. You know what you're doing. And to me, that crosses a line. That's not just reality TV shit. Now you're crossing the line, which is why Simone was so upset by it, because you're using trigger words now. You went to production and said you didn't feel safe. That's why you allegedly didn't come to the trip the first day, because allegedly you went to production and said you didn't feel safe. No, listen, I ain't wondering why she won't be reasonable. I'm just saying that's what bothered me. That bothered me because I was like, girl, the jig is up. All you got to say is, listen, even whether you telling the truth or lying, all you had to say was, listen, when I saw the footage, yeah, it wasn't as bad as I remembered it. But in the moment, that's how I felt. I felt like you had pushed me. I felt like you were being real aggressive towards me. But when I saw it on the playback, it wasn't that bad. Because that particular event, a lot was going on in that event. Everybody was mad at everybody. You know what I'm saying? Somebody did call Heavenly, a contestant called Heavenly a blaring, a black Karen. She sure did. Contessa chased her and she didn't do all that. Right. But she did call security, though. Remember, she did call security on Contessa, but she didn't act like she didn't feel safe around her. That's what I'm saying. It was something more. Listen, I'm going to tell you what I think it was, if I'm being honest. And I'm going to go on to say what I think it was. The season over now. I can go ahead and tell y'all what I think it was. I honestly think that I think Simone became a victim of circumstance. I think that Heavenly was trying her best to divert the storyline away from her son. That anything that happened that she could make a big deal and turn it into a storyline, I think that's what she grabbed hold of. And I think Simone just happened to be the first thing that she could put her teeth in to divert the story. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. That is my honest opinion, that I think that she was desperate to change the narrative because she did not want them talking about her son. And Simone, unfortunately, just happened to be the first thing to come along that she could put her teeth in. That's honestly what I think happened. And that's not fair. It's not fair to Simone. You know, it wasn't fair to Simone in this situation. But I honestly think it could have been anybody. But that's just my opinion. I don't know that to be true. That's my opinion. Now, while this was going on, the men were backstage arguing. And let me say this. Steve, you were exhausting. Even though I started off on Steve and Mimi's side as it relates to the damn, as it relates to the Meg Gala situation, I was kind of on y'all side. Well, I was on y'all side. But Steve, you were doing too much. You were really, even at the end of this, when you were talking about, I mean, I know I intimidate you and your wife talking about me being with no shirt on and stuff. You was hitting below the belt. And I'm going to say this. I give Eugene a lot of credit for not coming after Steve, because that last segment at the very, very end, when Steve was talking about Toya, talking about him not having a shirt on and all that stuff, baby, I'm glad that Eugene just got up and walked away, because that was too much. Steve, you were doing too much. And sometimes you can be right and still end up being wrong. And then this was a situation for me where I was with Steve and Mimi, and I'm still with Steve and Mimi as it relates to the Met Gala, but you ended up wrong because you did too much. You did way too much. And Eugene handled it very well. To be fair, Eugene handled it very well. Well, Toya did say he was gay on the interview the day before. What interview the day before? When she was on Carlos King? Was that the day before the reunion? He was okay. So wait a minute, Cameron. So you talking about when Toya went on Carlos King? And she said he was gay? Well, now that's a horse of a different color. I can understand why he was pissed off. It premiered the day before they take. Oh, see, I didn't know in relationship to the. Oh, well, she hinted at it. Listen. I can't be mad at him for that. No, Carlos said he looks good, and she said that's what the boys say. Well, then that's not her calling him gay. Her saying that's what the boys say. Listen. I ain't gonna get into minutia. Anyway, now as far as Eugene and Curtis are concerned, Curtis it was real sarcastic. I have to hear it. Okay. Curtis I understand to a certain extent what Curtis was upset about. Curtis was upset about Toya insinuating that other women on the cast had an issue and other women on the cast had come to him as if this was a chronic issue with him putting his hands on the women on the show. I understand his anger. Because was he wrong for what he did with Toya and pulling Toya into his lap? Yes. Full stop. And I wish that he had just started with the apology, because him acting like he wasn't going to apologize until somebody... See, that's not how apologies work. You apologize because you're wrong. You say, yes, I was wrong for pulling your wife into my lap. I was wrong for that, and I've apologized. We talked about that before, and I apologize, and I'm sorry. Or if he didn't apologize, I'm apologizing now, and I'm sorry. But Toya insinuating that this is a chronic issue on the show, insinuating that other women are coming to her, telling her that Curtis is touching them, that can go in a whole different direction. And I understand why Curtis was upset by the insinuation. Now, to be fair, because even when Toya was like, that's not what I said. I said other women. And I mean, I didn't say it was other women on the show. I just said other women. And there were other women. It was me. It was you. And you know the other woman, right, Jackie? That's when Jackie should have slapped the shit out of Toya. Because number one, now you playing word games. Because you're insinuating now. So now you bringing it. Oh, no, she said me, Heavenly, and the other woman. That's what she said. So now you playing word games because you bringing a whole nother woman into the show. The woman that my husband had an affair with, you're using her as part of your example of Curtis touching people inappropriately. That's number one. Number two, don't bring other people into this situation and make it worse than it is. Hey, Papo, thank you for the super chat, boo. Thank you. That is where I'm like, come on now, Toya. Now that's kind of fucked up. And that's what Curtis was upset about. And I do think this was chopped up. But when the men went on stage, Curtis, you should have apologized like you apologized backstage. Because once you apologize and say, you know what, you're right, Eugene, I was wrong for putting your wife in my lap. Full stop. I accept it. I was wrong. But my issue is your wife insinuated that this is a chronic issue, that I have a problem keeping my hands to myself. And that can go in a whole nother direction, especially in the day and age we live in right now, where people want to start talking about sexual harassment and all kinds of other things. That could have went. He did apologize backstage. He apologized backstage. He didn't apologize on stage, which I didn't understand Because he had already fucking apologized backstage. Why can't you just say it again? It's okay. Come on in, Cameron. You family. She didn't say women told her. But here's the thing, JB. I was on Toya's side until Toya said, well, there were other women, and she said it. Toya said it. Toya said it. Because at first she said that's not what she said, but then she went on, So anyway, at the end of the day, I can understand again. But at the end of the day, Curtis, you were wrong for putting your hands on that woman. And I still don't know why you had your hands around Heavenly's waist, because I don't know what that was about. But anyway. But Toya and Eugene said it was a joke on season 5. So why are y'all mad? Why is who mad? When did he put his hands on Simone? What you talking about, JB? He put his hands on Simone. When did he put his hands on Simone? Oh, maybe he did admit it, but I thought he apologized. Maybe he admitted it but didn't apologize. Maybe. I don't know. But I thought he apologized, but maybe now that you said, maybe he just admitted that he did it, but he didn't apologize. Again, I don't want to make it sound like I'm defending Curtis, because I am not. I need y'all to understand. I am not defending Curtis in any way, shape, or form. Okay. When did he touch Simone? I don't remember him touching Simone. What do you think Jackie could have said when? At the family reunion. I don't remember, but I don't know what he did. Tell me what he did, because I don't remember him doing anything at the family reunion. I think Toya answered the question to start beef for the season. Maybe. What pissed me off about the whole thing, if you go back and look at it, Toya was testing him, and he was testing him, and he pulled her. The fact that she is acting like he pulled her to be sexual with her, I don't agree. Toya, you know what? Now that I think about it, y'all, and I ain't gonna get stuck here. Toya did say, what she said was, Curtis has put his hands on multiple women. Something along those lines. She did say that, y'all. She did say it was multiple women. She did. I remember now. She did say it. He failed the test. She didn't make it like he was trying to be sexual. It was, he don't have no boundaries. If he'll do that in front of Jackie, you know what he does behind her back. Anyway, I understood what Curtis was saying. I just think, again, you still have to acknowledge what you did that was wrong. And I think that's where Curtis was losing me, is that he wouldn't acknowledge what he did, in my opinion. But that's it. Let me keep going, child, because I ain't gonna get stuck there. I said, great conversation about real medical issues. This part of the reunion, once again, is the reason why Married to Medicine, in my mind, will always be one of the better shows on Bravo as it relates to real world shit. They literally had a whole conversation about how what's currently going on in this administration is affecting the medical profession and affecting their real life, right? And that is my, like, I love that part. I know some people might have been bored by it and be like, what are they talking about this for? But again, that's why you have a show full of Black female physicians, so we can talk about how this is affecting Black women. And I love that part of the conversation. I loved how all of them were able to talk about how it's affecting their profession, how it's affecting their everyday life, the things that they've had to adjust, even as far as when they were talking about social media, what types of trends are going on social media that is hurting y'all's business. Like, I loved all of that. And I thought that was a really great part of the reunion. Again, that is what's going to always stand out. That's going to be different as it for me, as it relates to Married to Medicine versus other shows. And that's why, we can have those conversations on Married to Medicine that we may or may not necessarily be able to have, in other areas, right? We can have that conversation on Married to Medicine. The reality is we didn't need 3 parts. Like, the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City didn't get 3 parts. They got 2 parts. So I hope that Bravo is doing a better job of realizing, wait a minute, this season doesn't need a 3-part reunion. This season only needs, I don't think we needed 3 parts. I'm glad we didn't have 3 parts because, again, I don't know what the 3rd part would be. It would be a bunch of bullshit, and we would be complaining because it just wasn't enough there, in my opinion, for 3 parts. Although I really feel like we could have done a whole episode on the Meg Gala because, child. Okay. Next, the guys come out. Again, Eugene and Curtis, they argue. We already saw that argument backstage. It's the same damn argument, in my opinion. Then we saw Damon talking about his son. And Andy asked him about criticism that people had about why he didn't tell his wife about what happened with his son. And one thing that he said was, everybody doesn't know the whole story to criticize him on how he handled it. He said, listen, I'm a doctor and I wasn't prepared. My son doesn't know how to articulate what's going on. And, we're doing the best we can to figure this out and navigate through it. And he said that he hasn't seen his son either. As of the taping of the reunion, he hasn't seen his son. And he was basically like, if you're listening to this, know that, I'm here for you. If you want to come home, you can come home. And he teared up. And, one thing I'm going to say is this. I agree. We don't know the whole story. And to be clear, we're never going to know the whole story. Unless Damon Jr. comes down and tells us himself, we're never going to know the whole story. Because Heavenly ain't going to never tell us. Damon damn sure ain't going to never tell us. And that's going to be that. What I find interesting was at the end of the reunion when Heavenly and Simone got to arguing. Did y'all hear what Heavenly said? Heavenly said to Simone, because I wouldn't be stupid enough to come down here and tell all my family business like you do. Again, that's when Andy needs to look at her and be like, huh. Because that's what you signed up for. Again, I have sympathy for people when real life happens, when the cameras are rolling and they have to navigate around that real life shit. But at the end of the day, that is literally what you signed up for. You literally signed up to let the cameras follow you and record your real life shit. Just because in recent years, or people have gotten away with manufacturing their storylines and producing themselves, doesn't change what you signed up for. And so for you to say that they're dumb for doing what they signed up to do, Heavenly said her family didn't sign up for the show, so she won't exploit them. But they kind of did because she signed up for the show. I'm sorry. I think that I know that there are housewives that don't have their children on the show, and I respect that. But something like, I don't know. And that's how we know that the mental health storyline is a lie. I don't think the mental health storyline is a lie. I do not think the mental health storyline is a lie. I don't. I just don't think that. I think they found out about the mental health part after the fact. But I don't think it's a lie. But that's my opinion. It could be. I don't know. Yet they fired Robin for not being transparent and for being boring. We can't add boring. Robin was not a good housewife. Heavenly, whether people like her or not, Heavenly is a good reality TV show person. Whether you love to hate her or not, Heavenly is a good, she's good at doing her job. Robin was not. She's also selling her storyline behind the paywall. Remember that? Right. When Robin finally did have a storyline, she went behind the paywall instead of doing it on the show. That got her fired. I still believe Heavenly is lying about not knowing about her son. I do believe she lied about that. I absolutely believe she knew. Maybe not that exact night, but I definitely believe she knew. Yeah. Yeah, I really do think the mental health storyline is real. I don't think it's fake. I just don't think they're telling us everything, which again, don't have to, you know. But that part, I do believe that the mental health storyline is real. I do. She said he took some medicine that didn't agree with him. He flipped out. Now he won't take anything and dissing himself from them. Right. He was on some medication. Yeah, anyway, the story, listen, the timeline don't add up, but I do believe that there's a mental health issue. That's why I would hit Heavenly with the saw my children today whenever I could. She goes too low, too much. That's the thing that's the part about Heavenly that irritates me. You will talk about everybody else's family any chance you get. But now that you are having a real situation in your family, now it's off limits. No, it's not. No, it's not. And again, Eugene and Steve, again, I just feel like they're arguing over the same shit. So, it is what it is. Then the whole group came out. And the main conversation, they talked about Simone and Curtis, where Simone talked about, basically they're in a better place than what they were. And she said, listen, my kids are spoiled. I do a lot for them. But when I do put my foot down, I need my husband to have my back. And that's where I felt like I didn't have the support. Here's my issue, though. Do y'all find it interesting that they didn't ask Simone about divorce? They didn't ask Simone, so are you still thinking about a divorce? Are you still ready for a divorce? Because Simone was clear through the season. She talked about divorce multiple times. But I find it interesting that they didn't even bring it up. Like, Andy didn't even ask her about it. I mean, he asked about the kids, and he talked about Cecil supporting her and having her support. But I find it real interesting that they didn't ask her about the divorce, or it was edited out. But to me, that's something that shouldn't have been edited out. Simone, and they showed it in the clip. They showed her talking to Dr. Jackie about divorce. So it's like you showed it in the flashback clip. So you're right. It may have come out and they edited it out. That's what I was saying in the beginning about them editing stuff. That's one of the things that I don't feel like they should have edited out. That should have been something included. Cecil put in that work and got his woman back. He did. They didn't talk about what a lot. You mean at the reunion or on the show? Because on the show, they talked about it a lot. They sure did. She had that scene with her sister. We hardly ever see Simone with her sister. She filmed the whole scene with her sister talking about she's tired and she's ready to go. We saw her talking to Jackie about it. We saw her talking to, was it Toya or Quad? She talked to a few people this season about divorce. She didn't just mention it. It came up a few times. And especially since we went through this with Simone and Cecil before. Like, oh, they didn't talk about it a lot on the reunion. Yeah. Yeah, they didn't bring up Heavenly's brother. Again, that might have been edited out, but they didn't bring up Heavenly's brother. If y'all paid attention, Heavenly didn't say a lot. Again, I think she was trying to be congressional. I think she was trying not to go there because she really didn't talk a lot. I mean, she had a few little blurbs here and there, but Heavenly didn't talk a lot. Right. They had the whole scene with Cecil and his brother. Yeah. They also talked when all of the people were out there. They did talk about Mimi and having a special needs son and how hard was that, and they talked about that. Curtis apologized to Quad, but it was a bullshit apology because he said if, and y'all know how I feel about apologies that have the word if in it. It's not a if, it's a I'm sorry that you absolutely did offend her. She told you offended her, but she said they had already apologized and she had accepted his apology and they moved on. What I didn't like was, I'm sorry, I didn't realize how complicated her issues were with the fertility. It doesn't matter if they were complicated or not. You were fucking wrong for what you said. It didn't matter whether she was having a hard time conceiving or not. The point was you were out of line and you were wrong for what you said and judging them for having sex before marriage when you done had a whole fucking affair on your wife. Hello? Then we had this whole Met Gala conversation. Now, let me tell y'all something. Toya and Eugene. Y'all was starting to sway me a little bit because of how Steve was acting. Because Steve was getting on my damn nerves. Because at the end of the day, Steve, now I have been defending your ass for the last 3 weeks. Steve. Hey, Steve. I've been defending your ass for the last 3 weeks. But what I didn't hear you say, and if you said it, it was edited out. I didn't hear you say you didn't know you had to buy a ticket in that moment. I'm not talking about he didn't say it at all. He said it. But when you were out there on that stage, you kept focusing on, and again, I do believe this part was edited, so they might have taken it out. But you were talking about what Toya hadn't done and how Toya hadn't donated money and how dare she come at them the way she came at them when she hadn't even donated money the years before. Sir, that's not your argument because that ain't got shit to do with you. Your argument is it was not properly communicated that we had to buy a ticket. We did not understand that people on the show had to buy a ticket. That is your argument. They muted his mic. Well, maybe that's what it was too. So that's my issue. Now, at the end of the day, I'm still on Steve's side too, Xavier, because I still feel like it was some bullshit, in my opinion. Now, Mimi said nobody else was treated the way they were treated, and that they felt that it was singled out, and it was a singular action that was directed at them. And then here comes Simone as defending Toya, because her and Toya, they homegirls for real. And here comes Simone Simone, I didn't like this because what you were saying didn't match what Mimi's issue was. Because Simone was like, Toya did that with all of us. Toya, she cussed all of us out or whatever. First of all, if you donated your $2,500 and you bought 10 tickets, then your argument isn't the same as Mimi's, because she said that the way Toya had it set up was that basically they were stopped at the door and embarrassed because they didn't have a ticket. That wasn't your issue. Whatever you and Toya were arguing about, or whatever issue Toya had with you, is not the same as Mimi's issue. And then she gonna say, and it was their event and they have every right to stop you at the door. But that's part of the problem, Simone. It wasn't their event. It was all of you all's event. It was Married to Medicine's event. It was not Toya's event. So here we are with Contessa saying Toya acted like it was her and it was the her and Eugene show and excluded everybody. And you just confirmed it right there. Simone talking about what they have a right. It was their event. It wasn't their event. That's the whole point. It wasn't their event. And Contessa was right. Contessa said, listen, Eugene didn't have nothing to do with this. No, Eugene shouldn't have been at the door stopping nobody. He shouldn't have been handling none of that. And then Eugene gonna say, well, the only reason why I was involved is because nobody was helping Toya. And so I had to help her because she was worried about looking stupid. Didn't Toya have a whole blanket or whatever that was, a lab coat of all of the group messages? Baby, Contessa said, open that coat back up, because I can show you where I asked her, where I told her I could help her. I could show you where people volunteered to help do stuff. She totally iced us out of everything and then got mad when we had questions or we had concerns. Toya, I don't believe that nobody offered to help you. I don't believe that nobody offered to help you. Absolutely don't believe that. Now, she said, all I did was what Dr. Jackie did. In season 1, Dr. Jackie didn't tell us anything. And in season 2, Dr. Jackie didn't tell us anything. That's where I'm going to stop you. Season 1, you're probably right. Because in season 1, it did look like a Dr. Jackie event. If you go back to, not season 1, but the first time they did it 2 seasons ago, it did look like a Dr. Jackie event. I can absolutely agree that Dr. Jackie probably took the reins and rolled on with it. But last season, we literally saw meetings that these women had last season. We literally saw where you were at one of those meetings, the meeting where they talked about the $2,500, and you said you wasn't giving no $2,500. That was at Heavenly's Lake House last season, when I think that was the first time Quad brought King around the people. And we literally saw them include you in the conversation, and you said you wasn't giving them no money. And then we saw another meeting with Phaedra, Quad, Heavenly, Dr. Jackie, and they called you on the phone. So don't say you weren't included last year, because you were. You chose to not be a part of it last year. Now, the first year, you probably right, child. But last year, that's not accurate, Toya. That is not accurate at all. Phaedra's whole storyline last season was about the Met Gala. Exactly. And we had multiple scenes where the women were talking about the Met Gala, and they tried to include Toya. Multiple scenes. Right. I'm donating wine. They even called her out last year about it. Well, Heavenly did. And did y'all catch what Dr. Heavenly said? See, when they got to arguing and they were all yelling over each other, did y'all catch what Heavenly said? Heavenly said, we still don't know how much she donated. We ain't seen the books. We haven't seen the final numbers. We still don't know how much money Toya donated this year. Remember I said that last week? Don't tell me it was a success until you tell me what you made. We already know that y'all didn't raise as much money as y'all raised in the first 2 years. But don't tell me something was a success if y'all haven't seen the final numbers yet. If y'all haven't seen, as of the time of the taping of this reunion, y'all hadn't seen the final numbers yet. Y'all don't know if it was a success. Y'all don't know what the fuck Toya did with y'all money. Y'all know that y'all gave away $10,000. That ain't shit. Simone bought a table for $10,000. I'm sure Jackie bought a table for $10,000. I'm sure, except for Mimi and Steve, I'm sure the majority of those women bought multiple tickets. You had other people there. You had the art auction. But y'all only gave away $10,000. So don't tell me it was a success if y'all haven't even seen the books yet. You can say it looked nice. You can say we all had a good time, but you can't say it was a success. But remember last week we said that. We were like, well, Heavenly, if they must have made, because Heavenly didn't say nothing. Well, hell, Heavenly said something on this episode. She said, we don't know we still don't know what Toya donated. We ain't seen the books. Maybe if Toya included the ladies in planning, they would have been able to give med students more than 5K. Listen, what we know is, I can tell you right now where they spent a lot of money. They said Toya changed the venue at the last minute. I don't give a damn what your issue is. If you booking a venue at the last minute, it's going to cost you more than if you had booked it 6 months in advance. I don't care how nice the venue looked after they decorated it and all of that. You changed venues at the last minute, you paid some extra money. And why did you have to change venues? Did you put a deposit on that other place? You know there's a cancellation fee. Did you get all your money back from your deposit? And then Andy said, y'all ain't even asked him for no money. How y'all don't hit up? Andy probably the richest man that most of y'all know. Y'all ain't calling Andy for a donation. Yeah, I mean, I know last year they got the 100,000 because Phaedra donated. I got that part. I understand that, But again, it's just, you know. And let's be clear, I'm not even saying that Toya didn't do a good job. I don't know if Toya did a good job. But what I do know is it does sound like Toya took over. Toya wanted to do it her way. She admitted she didn't include anybody. She's not saying she didn't. She's saying I did what Dr. Jackie did. So you're admitting that you didn't include people. You're admitting that you excluded them. You're admitting that part. Right. Andy could have probably put a 20K on it by himself. Or bought a table or something. That's 10,000 if he bought a table. Anyway, y'all, that was the reunion. That is season 12 of Married to Medicine. It is in the can. The last thing they talked about was whether if Dr. Heavenly wins, well, she'll be back. First of all, I don't think Dr. Heavenly's going to win. I mean, you know what? I shouldn't say that. I don't know what's going on in that election. She might be, I don't know. She might have a good chance of winning. I don't know. I ain't going to say that woman ain't going to win. I don't know. I don't know nothing about that woman winning. But, we will see. Excuse me. She's in 4th place. Okay, she'll be back. She'll be back. She be back. All right, y'all. Let me get out of here. So tomorrow, I got some reviews coming for y'all. I'm about to go. Don't tell me who's winning or nothing like that. I'm about to go watch the basketball game, and then I'm going to bed. I will see y'all tomorrow. Mwah. Peace.